So I don't know about any of you, but I've always thought that it would be cool to be in a band. I mean, getting to make and perform music sounds really rewarding, and the thought of maybe making it big and having my work remembered, even more so. However, being that I am terrible at music, those dreams will, let's be honest, never come true. It's times like these, though, where it's at least fun to watch a show about a band, and today's topic is a great one. Without further ado, let's jump into Beck. Beck, also known as Beck Mongolian Chop Squad, is a 26-episode anime about a group of Japanese teenagers forming the titular rock band, as well as their struggles to find success. The anime begins with our protagonist 14-year-old Yu-Gi-Oh! Tanaka, known as Koyuki by his friends, living a pretty boring and uneventful life. His life is changed, however, when he saves a strange, patched-together looking dog named Beck from some kids, and he meets Beck's owner, 16-year-old guitarist Ryusuke Minami. It's not long before Koyuki and Ryusuke strike up a friendship, and when Ryusuke introduces Koyuki to the world of rock music, he instantly falls in love with it. Encouraged by Ryusuke to start playing the guitar, Koyuki dives in, and when he eventually shows skill in playing, as well as singing, is recruited as Beck's rhythm guitar player and singer of slower songs. Together with Ryusuke on lead guitar, Zach de la Rocha lookalike Chiba on main vocals, shirtless enthusiast Tyra on bass, and fellow classmate Saku on drums, the band sets out to make a name for themselves. Without getting too much farther into details or spoilers, the rest of the story follows the ups and downs of the band, Koyuki's relationship with his fellow bandmates, and the struggles Koyuki goes through of wanting to be a rock musician even when the rest of the world doesn't believe in his dream. Now, I don't know if the premise alone is enough to hook you, but if not, allow me to point out the two biggest things about this show that I think make it great. First of all, let's start with how Beck is a really good underdog story. Even though Koyuki and the rest of the band work their butts off to book gigs, afford equipment, manage egos, and work side jobs to pay the bills, on top of band duties like attending practice, they are still constantly told that they will never make it big and are always faced with obstacles on their way to the top. While it can be a bit depressing to watch their struggles, especially in scenes like the one where Koyuki is being scolded by a teacher and told to stop chasing foolish dreams, it's moments like these that make Beck's successes that much more satisfying to watch. I mean, following your dreams is hard, and the show never shies away from this, instead showing us that if you really want something, in this case to make it as musicians, then you better be willing to work for it no matter what. While I myself am not a musician, I can still relate to many situations the band goes through, and I am sure others can as well. I think the fact that the show does this in an organic way that makes it feel like you are following a real-life band is super impressive, and the fact that you feel attached to and want Beck to succeed is a testament to the show's great writing. Similarly, I have to give props to this anime's music. This wouldn't be much of a show about a band if they can't even play any songs, but luckily, some really good work was put into the music for the show. From slow ballads that make you teary-eyed, to stuff that goes hard and makes you want to headbang, the music is top-notch. I mentioned earlier that Chiba, the main vocalist, is a Zach de la Rocha lookalike, and the fact that this extends to his rap-oriented vocals and a song named Spice of Life that is reminiscent of Rage Against the Machine's Bulls on Parade is a neat way of showing influence from real-life bands. Something that I find particularly cool, by the way, is that the music, while different whether you watch the dub or subbed versions, is great in both. Sure, people argue about which version they like better and why, but the fact that you can watch either and still have a really good experience shows how much work was put into this show. On the flip side of this, however, the show does have its flaws, so let's talk about those now. One flaw, for instance, is that whether you watch the original Japanese version or the English dub, the universe of Beck still feels jarring due to language. By this I mean that if you watch the Japanese version, then this for the most part feels fine since it takes place in Japan, but the fact that Ryusuke, who is said to speak better English than Japanese because he grew up in New York, still talks in English is weird. The same can be said for any other character who is supposed to be bilingual, as their English will obviously sound very off to anyone who speaks it as a primary language. While you would think that the English dub fixes this, it is awkward in its own way, because we not only lose the fact that some characters are bilingual, but in situations where Koyuki is spoken to in English and is obviously confused due to not knowing the language, we instead get Nothing. Koyuki will still appear to be lost by what he's being told, but with an explanation of what is confusing him totally brushed aside. Likewise, another flaw of the show is its story to an extent. Many people complain that the beginning is kind of slow, and at the end feels quite rushed, and while I don't really agree with the first part, I do agree with the second. When it comes to the beginning, I think it being a little slow makes sense, since it's trying to establish the universe and show the realistic progression of Koyuki getting into playing guitar, but I'll still mention it to be fair. When it comes to the rushed ending though, I can't help but feel disappointed. Sure, we're given an ending that is satisfying enough, but the fact that so much story is crammed into an episode, and not to mention that the show doesn't even end where the manga does, is a flaw that I consider important to warn about. So in the end, do I recommend this anime? Despite its flaws, I do, since I feel that the great music and awesome journey we go on with the band is worth it. Filled with comedy, drama, a coming-of-age story, and of course music, I think that Beck is definitely a well put together show that most people will like and many will love. Available in both the great subbed and dubbed version, why not check it out? But hey, that's just my opinion. And remember, don't take anything I say too seriously. After all, I'm just the Wannabe Reviewer. Thanks for watching.